We got some 411 about the first DLC drop for Battlefield 1 called They Shall Not Pass, due out in March. This DLC focuses on the French, one of the biggest armies involved in World War I, so naturally they'd be a great fit for DLC instead of in the base game. We see the first pictures of the soldiers here, and I'm surprised this dude doesn't have a lit cigarette in his mouth, and cue the idiots blaming SJWs for having black soldiers fighting for the French, even though African colonialism and all that good shit. Anyways, the 4 new maps all have new screenshots and descriptions, the first being Verdun Heights, which was the map that was on fire in the previous artwork post. Since everyone loves running up the giant hill on Monte Grappa, they've recreated that experience, but this time with fire like Hollywood Heights from Hardline or Hill 137 from Bad Company 2's Vietnam DLC. It looks like we might actually get some trenches in this map, but it'll probably be muted because historical accuracy is boring and we totally need another Argonne Forest ripoff. Next is Fort de Vaux, or Battlefield 1's Operation Clusterfuck Meat Grinder. Described as a maze of dark galleries and whetstone corridors, watch your corners, seems perfect for the types of Battlefield players that we all love to hate. Yes, you, prone bipod LMG asshat, constantly spamming the grenade button because moving is too much fucking effort for you. Soissons is perfect for those level 100 vehicle whores that somehow have fun sitting in a tank while tiptoeing around the objectives all game. I guess DICE got lazy and wanted to make a nicer looking version of St. Quentin Scar, which I thought was what Giant Shadow was supposed to be. Quote, only the thunderstorm is louder than the war. Great, I can't wait for that fucking fog or rain to roll in. Lastly is Rupture, whose flowers are stained with the color of blood from the previous battles. More pictures of trenches as you'll be fighting amongst the wreckage of tanks, because that's not a theme that was just done in Giant Shadow with the Zeppelin or anything. Along with the new maps are a new behemoth, the Char C2 Super Heavy Tank, which was bigger than Honey Boo Boo's mom. Will be another vehicle to get pissed at your teammates for misusing, as the driver's seat has probably never been more important. Speaking of tanks, there's also a new regular assault tank shown here as the Saint Shaman. Are those your gun turrets, or are you just happy to see me? There's also a new stationary weapon, the Siege Howitzer, which behaves like a mortar since those are such an absolute joy to play against. Another thing that's lovely to confront are grenades, melee, and elite classes, so this DLC will roll all of those into one big lovely Trench Raider elite class, who's got a brutal raider club and an impressive grenade arsenal on top of extra armor. Thanks, DICE! There's also a new game mode called Frontlines, which they didn't even bother to change the name and ripping it off of another World War I game, Verdun, where you fight over one conquest point at a time until you get to the enemy HQ, when it magically turns into a game of Rush. Basically war or momentum from Call of Duty with the telegraph thingies tacked on to the end of it. There's no mention of new weapons in the post, but I'm assuming that there will be the usual one gun per class, and considering that there's a lot of French weaponry to choose from, we'll get that usual Battlefield DLC pay-to-win weapons better than vanilla. Oh, and it's also yet to be determined how or if these new maps will fit into operations. I'm hoping that we get 2 new ones with 2 maps each, but considering that Giant Shadow hasn't been folded into an existing one, I'm not sure these will either. However, prior to the March DLC drop, there will be an upcoming patch in February to hopefully fix some of the issues that have been plaguing the game and some weapon balancing automatico. In addition, more new custom game modes keep getting released, but they're only around as long as the Kardashian-Humphreys marriage, and they all seem far too restrictive in a game that's already lacking in content. Armored Kill was the vehicle-friendly scout-free conquest, and Bleed Out is Rush, but faster respawn and no health regen. Thanks, but no thanks. I appreciate them at least trying to keep the game fresh, considering the depth is about as shallow as hell. Finally, in Legacy Battlefield news, Battlefield 3 and Bad Company 2 are now officially backwards compatible on the Xbox One if you'd like to play a newer version of Battlefield with 30 FPS, 24-player max lobbies, and textures that look almost as bad as Black Ops 3 on last gen. These games are cheap as fuck on PC, especially during an Origin sale, so play the real thing. Coinciding with this announcement is the fact that these games are now also available for EA Access members, since they can actually play these things now on the Xbox One. Anyways, that's going to do it for the Battlefield news. How many of you guys out there are premium members for Battlefield 1 or are planning on getting the DLC? Let me know in the comments section. I've been the Schwantz27, making like a banana and splitting. Until next time.